We were at the lock of the Kiel Canal, and the North Sea offered only a narrow weather window. Easterly winds for 24 hours. After that, the forecast shifted, back to headwinds and perhaps thunderstorms, then no wind. We took the narrow opportunity. The wind made the decision for us. We cast off and were placed by the lockkeeper astern of a cargo vessel laden with timber, a fitting echo of all the trade, wood from the Baltic bound for the North Sea. As an alternative to the Kiel Canal, we had considered the river Eider, which joins the Kiel Canal at Gisela, a route used less now, but still navigable. It promised a slower, quieter journey through meadows and past mills. But there were questions, bridges that might not open, silting banks, the risk of running aground, or becoming slowed by tides. We were simply running out of time. Then came the canal, 53 miles of still water, one long corridor of green and sky. The sun held. The day passed in low engine hum and drifting thought. Ten hours later, we entered the lock at Brunsbüttel. The timber ships, our traveling companion from gate to gate, left quickly, no longer bound by canal speed restrictions. We followed more slowly, letting the Elbe carry us downstream. The Elbe was always more than a river. It carried trade from inland Europe to the North Sea. Hanseatic merchants passed here with salt and beer, grain and timber. Pilots watched the tide, feeling for shifting sandbanks. Today, container ships still follow the same channel. The sun was low when we reached Cuxhaven. Now came the difficult part, the long approach through the Elbe and out into the night. The tidal current of the Elbe is complex. When the Wadden Sea is already flooding, the Elbe still streams outward strongly. Somewhere near Scharhorn, the forces meet and the clash can be quite unpleasant when the wind takes part in the meeting. There was no time for proper tidal planning. We just had to go, as the wind would soon turn against us. How easy had it been in the Baltic, where no tides dictate departure. We split the night into watches. 3 hours on, 3 hours off. Handover at 0200. Halfway out the Elbe, we met the tides in force. The current held against us. Large container ships passed close, 1 cable's length away, their bow waves steep, and Coelacanth danced over their wake. Then something stranger, a low thudding, rhythmic and deep. For a moment I thought I was imagining it, until the lights came into view. A cruise ship, illuminated like a musical stage, slid past the starboard. Its music rolled over the water in thumping pulses. Moments later, we heard the captain call Elbe traffic on VHF. There was a medical emergency aboard, a broken arm. A helicopter was en route. Soon the aircraft appeared, circled, and winched the casualty up and away into the night. Round midnight, the moon rose, red and full over the stern. The wind had increased, as strong easterly as forecast. We set course, 250 degrees, Spiekeroog, the northern eye off the beam. We were sailing along the Frisian Islands once again, but now in reverse. On the horizon, towers of cumulus rose like monuments. We tracked them on radar. They moved away from us, but left a low roar of thunder behind. At Borkum, the wind dropped. For an hour there was nothing, not a breath. The sea flattened, the sails flapped. Coelacanth was not amused. The wind faintly returned, but now from the south, veering southwest as predicted. Another night at sea, heading into low winds, had lost its appeal. Then, without warning, a flock of birds appeared, spiraling low over the mast. They circled twice, then made for us directly, legs stretched out. Not seabirds, but doves, marked with leg rings. Exhausted, they landed, awkward, slipping against the mainsail. One staggered back towards the cockpit. He seemed to be asking for refreshments. We gave them both water and crumbs. They rested, and after a time they left. We altered course, turned toward the Wadden Sea and aimed for Lauwersoog. There we would enter the canals, the same inland routes that once carried Baltic cargo to remote rural villages. At Engelsmanplaat we passed a fleet of flat-bottomed traditional Dutch sailboats, plaatbodems falling dry on the sand at ebb. The tide had them still and patient. We reached Lauwersoog at sunset. It had been 36 hours since we left Kiel. 180 miles from the Baltic to the Wadden Sea. We drank a quiet beer and slept for 10 hours without dreams.